again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Daily December 2019. This is day 9. I'm still a day behind, and I probably still will be tomorrow because I have another video I want to make that's not daily Decembers. So we'll see how that goes. Today, I want to talk about something personal, just because the the last few days have been really bad, and talking about it and just expressing what's going on physically for me, I'm hoping will help a little bit. So, for those of you that may not be entirely aware of my situation, I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder with agoraphobia, social anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and conversion disorder. That's a lot of shit, and it makes my life kind of a nightmare. Um, um, I've tried to talk about some of the mental aspects of a lot of these, and I've talked about a few of the physical aspects, like my tremor and the seizures. I don't think I've ever actually gone into specific physiological details. Uh, um, I did. I have a therapist that's been working with me, and our one of our first goals was I get panic disorder. Basically means not only do I get panic attacks often, but at least half of them don't actually have a psychological trigger. Most people that get panic attacks, and tons of people get them at various points in their life. Just because you get a panic attack doesn't mean you have any sort of mental illness. It's just something that happens every so often. And it quite literally is just your body activating fight or flight when there's no actual fight or flight situation. So if you've been in a situation where your life was in danger, you actually have the same symptoms as a panic attack. The only difference being you need those symptoms at that point. You need extra adrenaline. Your heart needs to beat faster to supply energy to your muscles so that you can either defend yourself or get the hell out of there. It's the exact same response when you have a panic attack. However, there's no reason for it. Because you're not in a life or death situation, but your body feels like it. It's terrifying, which is why it's called a panic attack. Um, with panic disorder, or with no just panic attacks, generally what happens is, um, you will start your body will start to overreact to a stimulus. They call it a trigger. Something bad will happen, like maybe you lost your job, and in your mind, you start going, I lost my job. Well, now I don't have any income, and then I'm not going to be able to make rent, and I'm not going to be able to pay for food for my family. We're going to be out on the street, and then when we're out there, it's it's middle of winter. One of my kids could die of exposure. I mean, and so that's called catastrophizing. And if it happens enough, your body will start reacting to the fact that you are freaking out, and it will just assume, oh, you're about to die, better kick in fight or flight. And that's how panic attacks work in general. And panic attacks like that are controllable. With therapy and a lot of work, you can learn to identify your triggers and learn ways to de-escalate situations before you start having a panic attack, while the panic attack is building, and even ways that you can deal with the panic attack while it's happening to make it last as have the least amount of impact on your life as possible. That's something me and my therapist have worked with. With panic disorder, however, a large portion of your panic attacks don't have a trigger. It's not because you were catastrophizing or something bad happened and your body just overreacted. It will just start. I've had situations where I've literally just been sitting in my chair watching a show I've watched 100 times because it's calming, and my heartbeat will start rushing. I'll start sweating. I'll lose the ability to concentrate on anything. Sometimes my vision will even start blurring. I start feeling like I'm suffocating. And there's no reason. Nothing changed in the environment. Nothing happened in the show that scared me. My mind didn't wander and start thinking about the bad things. It just happened. And for me, a majority of my panic attacks just happen. We haven't been able to identify any triggers for the majority of my panic attacks, which makes treating them and controlling them significantly harder. One of the things we thought about was, well, why don't we just... That's my phone. We'll deal with that in a second. One of the ideas we had was just tracking my pulse, my heart rate, just to see where it was at its baseline, where it was when I was having a panic attack. And so I actually bought a heart monitor, just a really cheap one that I wore on my wrist, and it was good. We got some decent data, and we tried to kind of link it specifically to the idea of me working out, because our theory at that point was anytime I raise my heart rate at all, my body instantly thinks, oh, heart beating fast? You must be dying. And I would go into full-blown panic attack just from mild workouts. Like I don't even have to do much, just like arm lifts or Even sometimes just going up and down stairs can do it for me. So we thought the heart rate was triggering the panic attacks. Now that kind of got disproven, but it did give me some pretty decent empirical data. Now this is the heart monitor was a pretty basic model, so obviously there's a chance that some of the readings might not be 100% accurate, but they match the readings I've gotten from the doctor when I see him, because they check my pulse and blood pressure and all that. And what it showed me was my resting heart rate when I'm not doing anything, I'm just relaxing and trying to chill, is around 90 to 95 beats per minute. Average heart rate for most people, depending on what kind of shape you're in, is anywhere between 60 to 80. And once you get above 80 in general, that indicates that you're not particularly healthy, which, if you didn't know, I'm not. So my resting heart rate is really high. I've actually had it measured over 100 beats per minute, which is a mild workout for most people. Like power walking can get your heart rate above 100 beats per minute. Mine just does that. If I do anything that is mildly uncomfortable for me, where it sets off my anxiety, my heart rate jumps up to around 130, which is a decent workout for most people. I start sweating and a lot of other things. If my panic attacks get bad enough that they cause a seizure, my heart rate goes up to above 200 beats per minute, which is tachycardia. That's dangerous. That's deadly. And that I have confirmed with not my little wrist-mounted thing. That's the first time I had a seizure. That's what the paramedics recorded in the ambulance ride over. I think I was at 202 or 204 beats per minute. So when I'm having a bad anxiety day, my body is ripping itself apart. I'm basically, especially on the days I have seizures, I'm like running, my heart is running a marathon, and it's incredibly painful, and it causes other issues as well. The seizures themselves are relatively violent, and my head whacks around a lot. I hit my head on a lot of things when I'm seizing. So one of the reasons I like this chair, because this is padded, and so when I have a seizure, there's something for my head to smack on that's not going to hurt as much. But I have welts and bruises all over my head that constantly hurt. I get headaches and migraines from beating my head repeatedly. And I get migraines. I get tension migraines since I was like in 5th grade. I get tension migraines. And the seizures cause me to pull muscles in my neck, and strain muscles in my neck and shoulders, and even my arms sometimes. And because of that triggers migraines, and pain triggers panic for me, and it's just this really vicious cycle that's not fun. I also have issues with my eyes that no one can figure out, where I have extremely bad double vision, to the point where it gets bad enough that I can't read any text, because I will see two of every line, and the second line will interfere with other lines of text. So all I see is it looks like someone has printed over every line of text with the line beneath it. And sometimes they don't overlap perfectly, so it just looks like someone has printed two or three documents on the same page, and I can't read any of it. It's really weird when I'm watching something, because I will see ghostly outlines of all the actors and everything in the scene. I will see these outlines, and if something fast happens on screen, again, it's like I'm watching two or three movies at the same time, and I get nauseous, just from the over stimulation. With all of that, I also have physical disabilities. I've started developing. I don't know what it is, because we've x-rayed my knee, and apparently I don't have arthritis, or at least arthritis you can detect on a x-ray. So I'm not sure if that's like rheumatoid arthritis or what. But my knee will give out, and will swell every so often, and be incredibly painful. Even when lying down, it'll just be incredibly painful. And then my hip, I have femoral acetabular impingement, which basically means the socket of my hip. I have a pincer deformity, is what it's called, and the socket of my hip is growing extra bone that rubs against my femur. So and it's degenerative. So I will eventually have to have my hip replaced, possibly both. I don't know if I've got it in both. But since it's the same bone, I would assume. But because I'm so young, they can't actually replace my hip, because a hip replacement only lasts, I want to say, 10 or 20 years. So they won't replace my hip, and it is excruciatingly painful to walk, to move, to even just lie on my sides sometimes. So the reason it has been so rough recently is I am in an exorbitant amount of pain, and I'm trying to fight through it. I'm doing everything I can, but I can't stop panic attacks. There's no trigger. There's no way to control them. There's just a loose wire somewhere in my nervous system that turns everything to 11 at random intervals. I can't stop the seizures because we don't know what's causing them. We know what makes them worse, because I do still have panic attacks from actual triggers, and I'm working to control those, and working with my therapist to work through those, but they're technically a minority of my panic attacks. My life sucks. I really, really hate it. I'm in constant pain. I'm immune to most painkillers. I developed tolerances to just about everything. So there's nothing I can do to lessen the pain at all, other than narcotics have worked on me, but they're narcotics. I don't want to take them. I've already been on an addictive drug, and withdrawal is a bitch. So I don't want to be on narcotics, and as of right now, no doctors want me to be on them either. So I just get to be in pain all the time. Anyway, I'm sorry this is such a negative video. I've spent most of my life hiding my illnesses, being told that I'm doing it for attention, that I'm overreacting, and so I've been ashamed of this for decades, and just being able to say it out loud is a big deal for me. Anyway, that's all for me. I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.